So this is our foyer. When our clients come in, this is where they're going to be. We have someone at the reception area who would take their information, assess them, do the regular triage, so we know exactly what services we would be offering. So we'll continue. This is a restroom for the public. So Melissa, the vision is a one-stop shop. So when our clients who may be victims of domestic violence come to our building, it is a vision that we have most of the services available under one roof. Ease of reference for those clients and swift assistance. So we have our offices that are already outfitted for our clients, one of whom would be the crisis center and social services. This is our OC's office, and this is my director of the domestic violence unit. Better than mine. That's the advantage of the new. So this is our conference room, and why this is important to us is this is where all stakeholders will come together and we'll meet and we would discuss our clients' needs, whether it's from a social service perspective, whether it's from the police perspective, and all the other stakeholders. So no longer will we want our clients to go from east to west to north to south. We know that's a deterrent for persons making complaints and for persons reaching out because they say, I can't go here and I can't go there. So this is where those decisions on those files will happen. So all of these are office spaces, and they're pretty much the same. This is my favorite room right here. No. It is the children's room, our playroom. Nice. So we know that we don't want to re-traumatize our kids once we are discussing matters, so they could be in this nice, safe place having fun or watching whatever the little ones watch nowadays on TV. This space here was kindly donated by the Greek Orthodox Church, so they outfitted this room.
Nice. Very nice.
And as we move along, this is the office where my officers who are working here, they do their files, complete their files, and do their work. So this is their space with the restroom. I hope I'm not moving too fast. I just want to ensure that CP gets most of it again. And of course, Minister, I think this is your favorite space. This is our kitchen. Kitchen. Come in. Come in. So this is the ground floor. And we have 2 floors. It's the back door open so we can walk out. Okay. And we'll go up to the 2nd floor.
Okay,
because it's a commune living. So you would be in this room.
not me now.
This would be the room that you will be in.
Oh, nice.
Until your mantle and all that stuff comes.
It's done. Okay.
Yeah. Because
Hey,
we want to make sure.
Minister, see how it feels first classes arrive.
Minister, I'm so upset you was in here when I had all the
Isn't that
questions and all the pretty things.
Isn't that nice?
It's okay.
Yes, it feels good.
So you notice we decided to go with very beautiful and calming colors.
Yes.
Yes.
Neutral colors.
Yeah. So this is a bedroom. And in this bedroom, we have the bunk beds. We have cribs for babies. We don't want any accidents of them falling out of the crib. And a little fridge so that, you can put your little personal stuff in there.
So this is going to be for 5 different families, or this could
Well,
be.
we hope that it's not for five. We have enough. We have rooms.
Right.
Yes. This is not a shelter.
Gotcha.
This is only 24 hours, the most.
Now
That's why we're saying it's
Only
gonna
24
complement us.
hours,
Yes.
the most.
Yes, the buy
Yeah.
time. To,
Exactly, to process.
now that
That
makes
is it.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And we have raised the protocols that will be in place between the two entities to ensure that it's smooth, that you don't have persons here over the prescribed time that you intend, and they can transition smoothly into the shelter that will be unveiled.
We are on our social services taking it to the people. And one of the most exciting things about this is to see agencies working together. National Security has been with us and we with them since the beginning of the season of the minister and the permanent secretary. This is so first class. As we see the final take the final leg of this tour. International agencies keep saying the key to that efficiency and effectiveness is collaboration.
That's right.
And so we're going to talk to our minister. You see him enjoying the first class, sitting up in the couch, crossing his leg. And we see that there is hope, opportunity for our children who are being abused for transformation. Let's talk a little bit, because we were here for the opening, and you were seeing some of this in the program at the opening, that we were here right there front seat watching this great work. Commissioner, first of all, it's the first time I've interviewed you since ascending to your well-earned office. What does this partnership mean to you?
Well, I could tell you, working in CID for many years, there's always been a partnership with social services. But to see it now on this level means that we are truly collaborating as organizations. And we're collaborating with one goal in mind, and that is to meet the needs of the people, or those people who are truly in need of our services. One time ago, we would start some investigations and we'd say, now you go to social services. But we are now in an era where we can say social services is in the building with us, go right next door. And so it means a lot to us now. And I believe the Bahamian people will understand and appreciate the fact that we are trying to meet the needs of all those who are victims of domestic violence of any kind.
And you have a great team, and Assistant Commissioner McKinsey, and where is hardworking Chief? You're Inspector now. No, you Superintendent.
Assistant Superintendent.
Assistant Superintendent. Come right over here. What I like is team, and they have been working as a team. And one of the things that we did, the first Heartbeat PS,
Yes.
they're the ones who gave us some of the hurting people.
Yes.
And you remember? And it continues. So what has it been like getting to this point?
Oh, it's very exciting. Listen, it's like I can't even express myself how excited I am because of this today. Working along with the Commissioner of Police and Assistant Commissioner, Ms. McKinsey, has been great. If you know, working with victims of domestic violence as well as violence in general, we find that a lot of persons are hurting. And a lot of women are going through as well as men. And they always say, okay, where am I going to go? What's the next step? Housing is always an issue. If I leave this relationship, where am I going to go after this? So now with this one-stop shop, we have everyone under one umbrella. We have social services, the judicial system. We have public hospital authority, as well as nonprofit organizations. So the partnership is really great. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the next step in terms of helping our children, our women, our men holistically.
Assistant Commissioner, we are on our way to our shelter. You defined it very beautifully, Commissioner, that this is just temporary. Then you go to us for the shelter.
Of course.
And so that's going to be exciting as the minister and the PS leads us down there, and we're going to see that. So this show is going to be a really exciting show, because you're going to see the first class environment that social services and national security is creating for you, that you can have the comfort of confidentiality, of counseling. Speak to what this means to you, because you've been in the trenches, coming up, being a part of it.
for me, it's seeing a dream come through. Joining the force many, many moons ago. I won't say how long, and having to deal with a number of domestic violence matters, and wishing and hoping that we had this space. Um, but it starts with a dream, and the dream became reality. So for us, it's just ensuring that the people that we serve are getting top class professional service, convenience, saving lives. Because to me, the end goal is to ensure that no one else loses their life because they stayed in a relationship because they didn't have a place to go. So that's what it means to me.
Isn't that phenomenal?
And so, on top of all of having assistance for those who are victims of domestic violence, the message is education, getting the education out there to the people. And this team is certainly doing that. They're going into churches, they're in the community, civic organizations to talk about domestic violence, to get people to talk. And that is where we get to work. When people are comfortable enough to share their story or to look for help, that is where we come in. And I think that is one of the most important parts, things that I love about the fact that we now have a shelter, that people have comfort, that they can speak their story in comfort and they can heal. And healing is the most important part.
Well, I can really attest that your goal is being realized, that people are feeling more comfortable to talk because the two victims of domestic violence that Superintendent Kendra introduced to me, I was so shocked. I thought I had to do, spruce them up, encourage them. Oh no, I'm ready to talk. I said, "Do you want to be here?" No. I said, "Okay." So you have created the environment.
And when you share your story, or when victims share their story, it empowers others who are afraid to share their story, and that's the important part. We don't want children to be victims of domestic violence. And they are victims when they see this in their homes. And so to have those two women come forward and talk, I'm sure those women will encourage others to share their story and to seek help.
We're going to come to the minister in just a minute, but I think we got to see that we got all sides represented here with national security. And then, of course, we have our own social services executives and our undersecretary. And then we're going to go and see our PS, then right on to the minister. But listen, you are the undersecretary, like the minister and the permanent secretary, that really believe in empowerment. You've been in the trenches for a while. I like that, trenches. That's the PS brainchild, the trenches. Let me give him a little ad right here with Spence Finlayson. All right, what does this mean?
This, I think, like the commissioner said, it means everything. Empowered women means the nation is empowered because we are the nurturers, the natural nurturers. And so when we are well, the nation is well. We take care of our men, we take care of our children, we take care of our parents. And so it's very important that we send out the message that you matter, that there is relief for you. Please come. The police is your friend. The Department of Social Services and the Ministry of Health and all of these other collaborative agencies, we are here for you to support you. And we love you. Please come. Come. We will work with you to get you to where you need to be. The first step is just calling 911, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, well, you could feel that love, APS. Yeah, you always insistent, get in the trenches. That was your brainchild. In the trenches, we're about to go in to see what we're doing. Okay, and so let's walk into the other room. All right.
A piece of artwork was painted and donated to the unit
By a victim herself.
Really?
And she just wanted her story to be told. And if you would note, at the bottom of the painting is the family united. And that's the end goal for me, that families are united. There are times that it happens, and there's times that, other things will happen, but the end goal is trying to keep the family together and ensuring that the violence ends. So
it's amazing how this transitions, because the vision that the minister has is family. And we cannot move our nation forward without strong families. So if I may, just before, because I want to hear about this, and even we should meet these others who would do such, look at that. Look at this. World class. Those people are hurting, have so much gifting inside. And what you are doing is helping release the gifting. And just very quickly, we're talking about family PS. What does this mean to you?
Well, this is powerful. I have to say that because this is a beautiful rendition of actually what the artist no doubt is feeling. The strength that's coming here and it is depicted. The entire work that's been done here by the police is commendable. And I think at the end of the story, you mentioned us touring our facility. We are not outfitted as yet, but we thought it important to show them exactly where we're headed because it is a partnership. Very often, the public feels that the government entities operate in silos. This is a perfect example that we are always to the table. We certainly at the Ministry of Social Services and the Department of Social Services and all of our entities, we believe that partnership collaboration is key. We can stretch the resources when we work together. It is not about whose territory or turf. It is how we get to deliver the best assistance to persons on time when they need it. And so this is collaboration at its best, in my view.
Thank you. I want the minister. This background suits you, minister. I want the commissioner. Man, you helping produce the segment, you know.
I know, right?
And you're doing a good job. Yeah, I need you to come on this side so we could see you. Look here, and I look good. come on, Mackenzie. Yes, absolutely, minister. Yeah, I didn't know you had so much energy. You know when he is in the office, he looks very statesmanlike. Yeah. When he's on the ground, oh Lord, it's a whole different person that comes out, and we appreciate your willingness to always have that common touch and know the timing for everything. And I think that is what is inspiring and influencing this kind of togetherness, both in social services and national security, the partners that we have. So, sometimes we a little scared to say things, and I notice our nation coming up to another level. We could say compliments to people, even if they're a politician. Doesn't matter. This isn't political. This is national. When somebody is being abused, it doesn't look at the color of the party, the color of the skin. It just looks at somebody who is a victim. And so thank you for the leadership that you are providing and always ducking from the camera, but we push them in front of the camera so you're here today.
Thank you, Debbie. I too would like to join the chorus on teamwork, collaboration. The commissioner, Assistant Commissioner McKinsey and her team should be commended. And if you look at it, and I don't want to sound cliche, but decisions are made and you see. Would a male commissioner think in such detail? Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But we have to play the hands that we've been dealt. And so we have a shelter here that will supplement social services because the PS would know countless weekends we have individuals presenting themselves only to be told we can't do anything until Monday morning. What we have here now is a one-stop shop where social services, the police, national security come together and buy time for when Monday roll around or whatever day it happens that these individuals, sufferers of domestic violence, could be accommodated. I am blown away by this because now you're bringing in another element where the victim is now given back. And this is priceless. This is talent. And it speaks of the pain. It also speaks of a family being reunited. Now, in reality, not all the times that happen. Sometimes it may very well be for the best that the abused person go in a different direction. But it shows through collaboration where a mother, and there are some men, but let's not be politically correct. The vast majority of abuse is meted out against the women in our society. And I understand the PC because you don't want to deter men. Some men suffer too. But we have to look at the numbers of what we're dealing with. And so to have government agencies creating a safe space, not only for the abused, but also the children who are always affected. They become collateral damage because now sometimes, depending on the age, they have to choose. Sometimes the states choose for them, but even that intervention is sometimes temporary. So as we move on with regards to dealing with domestic violence, this is God sent, to be quite honest, because too many times there are situations where somebody come to the police and they're directed to social services and directed someplace else. And because of that, the person who is dealing with violence itself and their children now have to deal with having to go someplace else. What if they don't have a car? What if they don't have transportation? What if they're being followed? And so the police should be commended for the work they have done with this. Social services, I think we have at least 2 centers that we're going to be working with. And for obvious reasons, the public would know the location of those spaces. But the government has taken seriously the problem that we have. And we saw it exposed really during COVID because people were forced to live together, and some of the dynamics, those of us, loose goat don't know how tie goat feel. So those of us who are not aware that there have been breakdowns in the family, now you force people into being in confined spaces for extended periods, just exacerbated the weakness. And yes, we want a strong family. The family unit is the strongest unit. You have a strong family, you have a stronger community, you have a stronger country. But we also have to realize that we don't live in utopia. And governments have to be prepared for the inevitability of abuses that occur and to be able to execute. And here, the police has demonstrated on their end what this one-stop shop would look like. It is clean, it is spacious, everything was thought of. The nurturing spirit of the females that lead the police force should be given commendations for the common touch and the attention to detail. And as the individuals move here, you look at the calming colors and the soothingness, and then to be able to move where social services will find a safer spot for them. It's tough enough to deal with domestic violence, but the government, through its agencies, is finding a way to make that a little more bearable for those individuals involved.
Minister, thank you very much. We're going to have to run. I know, Commissioner, you on your way, but I just can't miss something that I heard the minister said, and I'm sure we'll speak for the people who are watching us to just commend you for what you have earned in the office of Commissioner. But in case you didn't hear real good and connect the dots, what the minister was saying that, sometimes there are seasons
Yes.
where you need them on.
Yes.
And I saw and I heard about the touch.
And you saw.
I heard and I saw. The national security team is telling us, and we are hearing with our eyes, because the environment is so important to give them that comfort. And as we head out now to see our social services shelter in the making, let us remember that the purpose of mankind, male and female, is to be rulers of industry. You're ruling with excellence.
Thank you very much.
See you shortly.
You can now stay in tune with all things social services on any one of our social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, missed any of our Taking Social Services to the People programs? No worries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Bahamas Heartbeat, to watch all of our programs and special content. Social Services is the heartbeat of the nation, taking our clients from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
So Lorraine, let's know please, how many rooms did we have?
Okay, now, this front house would definitely be like the administrative area. This particular room would be the room for the house parent. Right next door would be the kitchens. Definitely, it's too small. You have to build cabinets. We have to do all of that, but it's too small for that, especially with the safe house. So we were thinking that part of that big area where we just came from, where you said just take walls, do a partition, and build it out to have a bigger kitchen. And that front area would be the area for the receptionist and for the administrator. So where we were standing, we were thinking that could be for the administrator, and the other side, we haven't gone there yet, would be for the intake receptionist person, and have chairs for the persons who come in to get their information. As we walk some more, this is the kitchen area that, as you can see, is too small for anything, because you will have to have industrial sized appliances and all of that. And so definitely we were thinking you'd have to take this down and build out some more in here to expand the kitchen. This particular area, we were thinking could be like an entertainment room, the training room, the recreation, relaxation and educational. And so this area would be for that. And like I said, that would be for the administrator. This one would be for the intake process. Area, partition it, so that we can have a sick bay. So it's enough for that. So most of our living and working kind of quarters would be here. And then of course this is the bathroom. So.
Good, very nice. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going into back area, which would be the first and not upstairs.
This is only one. We have another building.
Because it's not, if the size was bigger, you could do the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
It would be self-sufficient, where you could have stock your provisions and all of that stuff.
Right.
It's right next door.
Right,
because
yeah.
You don't want to bring the kitchen into stock a little mingling or a whole bunch of people.
Right.
It's more controlled if cooking and storing stuff here and the end product end up over there with the size.
Yes.
So we're thinking to have a laundress in here, and storage being back here where the benches are, with towels and this is the bedroom. So pretty big in here. This is another bedroom. And plus
So how many beds you gonna get in here?
two bunk beds, two single bunk beds, one on that side, one on this side, zero. I don't know if you would have read the report. I really don't have the bathroom notes, but this is a double stall. Look at the toilet. I don't like how it looks.
How many bedrooms are
This three.
And how many upstairs?
2 bedrooms, but 4 bunks could hold on each side.
So in total, there are 5 bedrooms,
Yes.
but kind of has the capacity of the house, how many?
Very good.
So I need to see.
Just another rewarding day. It's so empowering to feel and to witness unity. Unity to empower, to authorize those people who've been marginalized by emotional abuse or sometimes even physical abuse. So you remember we had that wonderful tour to a completed domestic violence unit. And the police is here again now supporting what the Ministry of Social Services is doing. That's what we know. It's not competition. It's completion. It's become more efficient. And P.S. must be a good feeling because it's a very nice facility. What is the vision for this facility?
Well, the vision is that we will dovetail with the work that the police has been doing. We've seen their facility that's only intended to be 24 hours. This, however, provides longer-term shelter with interventions for the mothers and their children. You've seen the facility itself. We are in the process of actually transitioning to the point where the police is, where they have their furnishings and the like. I'm sure Minister will elaborate on other steps that we'll be taking, but it is sufficient at this time. I also want to point out that it's actually one of 2 shelters, but this one is complete. And so this will perhaps be the first one to go live within this year, and then the second one will come on stream. And so this is really a milestone for us. We're happy to get it to this point. We know that previously, yes, there were shelters. They were not government-owned shelters, but they were government-supported shelters because we did provide intervention and assistance, monetary assistance, and in-kind assistance to support their work with the view that they would help those in the community in need. But this one will be the first operated by the government.
Hey, breaking new ground. This is Ms. Lorraine. I come into you, Minister, but this is Ms. Lorraine Duvalier, one of the consultants here, and you've been making sure that this has been managed in readiness for those who need. What does this day mean to you?
It means a lot because from the time that the Department of Social Services opened a domestic violence unit, we needed shelter because persons who came, that was the main thing that they needed. They needed to get away from the perpetrator, and ASP McKinsey can attest to that. More than food, more than anything else, they needed to move away from that violence and move their children, their families, their moms away from that. And so now this is a reality, and it just feels so good.
I want to celebrate those people right there too. That's the support team. Let's y'all just say Clark and everybody. Okay. Well, we can get back to that. But this partnership.
Love it, love it, love it. So what it means is that the people that we all serve have options, have a place to be, have a safe place where there'll be no concern about whether or not they have some place to stay. I can tell you over the years, as late as Saturday or Sunday night, getting a call from a female who's displaced is a common thing. But now with the availability of these spaces, we will be better able to serve the people with dignity. So I'm excited about this, and I look forward to our collaboration, ongoing, I would say, because we've always collaborated in spaces like this. We always collaborate because when they come to us, we always have to refer certain parts of what they want to social services and vice versa. So this just forms a real good partnership. And I'm looking forward to the other building and more buildings to come.
You know, I want to ask you, Assistant Commissioner, just get out your uniform. I feel like she's just a Bahamian now, not the Assistant Commissioner. And I want us to give a high five for that. That's all right. The Commissioner, okay.
It's good. It's a positive thing.
It's a positive. Isn't that positive? It is so good. So, Minister, you had the talk of both, and now this is, as the Permanent Secretary said, is our first step, first space historical moment. We're here on the ground floor.
Debbie, yes, but it's good to see the symmetry between the police force and social services, national security. And so we saw a beautiful facility early on, and again, I would like to thank the former Commissioner Clayton Fernanda and the present Commissioner Knowles and also Ms. McKinsey for their leadership. They have made the job of social services so much easier that there's a place for an entry point for those suffering from domestic violence and their kids who are collaterally damaged. And that's a safe spot, and there is no drop-off in that facility as compared to this. It's tastefully furnished. We've seen the artwork that was there. The police went into great detail to cover all of the bases. And now we have another spot here, 22 beds, similar to what we saw at the police spot. This is one location. The other location has already been purchased, and a contract has already been awarded. So we look in the not too distant future having 2 facilities, 2 safe spaces, newly furnished, newly renovated, where those suffering from domestic violence could find a safe spot for them, for the healing and for recalibrating for whatever life. Hopefully, we are the Jesus Ministry where we hope that the domestic violence end and families could be reunited. But if not, it creates a space for those who are suffering until they could get on their feet again to move on with their lives.
You can now stay in tune with all things social services on any one of our social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, missed any of our Taking Social Services to the People programs? No worries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Bahamas Heartbeat, to watch all of our programs and special content. Social Services is the heartbeat of the nation, taking our clients from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
As I have been spending time in the domestic violence unit and also down in the shelter for the survivors of domestic violence, and it's really making a contribution in a very meaningful way for the survivors, the victims of domestic violence. But when we think about it, there are different faces or different causes that create the need for the increasing number of shelters. We talk about domestic violence, but there's also the natural disasters. Over the last 10 years, we have had 3 major hurricanes. That impacts the quality of life. We haven't even touched on the health issues. One surgery can wipe all of your resources out and again undermine your ability, my ability, because none of us are exempt. We can be working as hard as we can, bringing in the salary, and some of us are not making the salary in the first place that really can respond to the debt that we have, the responsibilities that we have in school fees and utilities and rent or mortgage. And Hurricane Dorian comes, and we were there going as a strong and steady middle class or a poor and struggling family, and that takes out even more of what we did not have. Why am I saying that? Because it creates more demands for shelters. We have not, I think, in our personal capacities as Bahamians, really perhaps fully assessed of the impact and how these unexpected, unplanned for natural disasters, and when I say unplanned for, you may have insurance, but that still doesn't cover it all. We are here today, and we are not expecting, even though we know a hurricane season is upon us, we didn't plan for that microburst, but some rooftops are off. Some people don't have a home. After it moves from the headline, we forget, except those people who are feeling it. But we are feeling it every day in social services. So what I want to do is invite you to stay with us in the second half, because the minister, the Honorable Miles LaRota, and a delegation accompanied by the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Fedra Raming Turnquest, and our Director of the Department of Social Services, traveled to Freeport. Now, you know Freeport, let me just commend you. You are a resilient people, and the resilience is going to pay off. It is going to pay off because you have gone through a lot. I mean, Dorian, pandemic, the entire Bahamas, but you've had probably about 5 different hurricanes over the last 10 years. As I said, we have had 3 major hurricanes, but you've had all of Francis and other, major systems that has really impacted the quality of your life. But we have continued the work of the late Obadiah Wilshcombe, and this minister, Miles LaRota, has come to a finish line. And I mean, it is a first-class facility. You're going to see some of it. Romiko Knowles is one of the top reporters in Freeport, and we really have some talented people. And I want to just turn this part of the program over to Romiko Knowles, who traveled with our communications unit team over there, and so that you can see on site of what we are doing to help facilitate Grand Bahamians and people from around the Bahamas. As you know, we have been to a couple islands, and shout out to Acklands and Long Key, Crooked Island, and the commitment is that we're going to go to as many of them, but this time we're here in Freeport. It's really the second time to follow up, because there is a strong commitment to assist you and I to move from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
Awesome. I love, firstly, to talk to the Ministry of Social Services. Many persons know that this is the heartbeat of the nation. We talk about it all the time, and I always say that if I wasn't in broadcasting, I would probably be working for the Social Services Department, because it is one of the only ministries that have to deal directly with people and giving assistance directly where it is needed most. So it's not an easy task, I know, because the needs are great, especially in Grand Bahama, but the work is being done. Minister, I'm going to start with you. Just share a little bit about, you've been on the island for the past few days now, and obviously you've been here throughout your tenure in office several times, and dealing with people and addressing some of the challenges. Share a little bit about what you have seen on the island of Grand Bahama.
Well, when I first took over last year, things were not as good as they are now. And that being said, we have not reached the point where we're all satisfied with that. Although things have been improved, there are still some areas of need. And my team here at Social Services, in particular in Grand Bahama, is leading the way in terms of trying to find solutions of which we can further assist. During COVID, up until earlier this year, we had a 4-year period where the former government had relaxed the requirements for social assistance. You had Dorian, and then you had the COVID pandemic. And so we had on our books per se, individuals for a 4-year period of which no assessment had been done, reassessment. So that would have included individuals, especially who worked in the private sector, who at the time were furloughed or laid off or wasn't working. What we found out when we did our assessment was that the numbers have been reduced because the circumstances had changed. The economy was open and people are back to work. Now, not to say that we don't have the working poor, because there are some people, notwithstanding the fact that they were
working, they were still finding it hard to make ends meet. So we didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The team down in Grand Bahama also recognized that there were situations where people required temporary shelter, a place to stay until they get their themselves together. You know, we did a tour yesterday of Mr. Smith's place out in Igma Rock. It's a beautiful facility that will come online very, very shortly.
Well, this is a perfect example of what could happen when public meet private, when Nassau meet Grand Bahama, when agencies come together to tackle a most vexing problem. This community suffered a double whammy. There was the effects from Dorian and also the COVID pandemic, the latter being very, very destructive to the financial lives of Bahamians as a whole. This community is no exception. And so this is the result, started under the former minister, my predecessor, the late Obadiah Hercules Wilchcombe, and the team in Grand Bahama, the leadership team, who brought to attention the urgent need for shelter relief for those who would have fell down on their luck. I must stress that this is temporary shelter, so this is not government housing. This is to assist the poorest of the poor, to help them get through a rough time, but also to work along with them to get from dependency to empowerment.
The Department of Social Services is so pleased to be able to assist the persons in Grand Bahama. I was posted here, as you're aware, immediately after Dorian and at the onset of COVID. And so it is really clear to me, I have a very clear recollection of the desperation of persons who were displaced by these two crises, desperately in need of some decent place to live, persons who would have lost their homes or whose homes had become compromised. The Department of Social Services and certainly the ministry does not like to see families out there on the streets sleeping in cars and struggling to that level. That's not something we're used to in the Bahamas, and we don't want to see that continue. So anything we can do to try to address this issue, we are happy to do. And so we are so pleased that this first temporary shelter facility is coming online and it's just about ready to be open. Persons will go and get assessed to establish that they are indeed in need of housing. And once they are approved, they would be able to move in. Their letter of approval will say the length of time. They are expected during that period when they're here to work towards becoming independent. That is applying for jobs, working with the department's advisors or managers in terms of managing their budget, any other issues that they have that impact their ability to live independently, we will work on to help to strengthen them so that they be able to transition out of these shelters into more secure family life and home situations. So we understand that this temporary shelter program is not simply giving somebody someplace to live, but also assisting them in terms of the tools necessary to be able to live independently post shelter living.
On a daily basis, we have at least 2 families who are requesting temporary shelter. And like Minister said, it's very costly. Grand Bahama does not have a shelter at this time. And so we have 1 or 2 hotels in Freeport who willingly assist us by housing our clients. And again, it is very costly. Right. So that is a major challenge that we are facing. Now, with the requests, when requests are made, there are specifics that we require. That is documents. Mm-hmm. And when you cannot produce documents to us, that is a challenge for us. And it takes time, therefore, to render the assistance. They don't have documents readily available. The requirements are basic: valid passports, voter's card, national insurance smart cards, birth certificates for your children. So that is some of the documents that we require. And when those documents are not presented, like I said, that presents a challenge for us and assisting you?
For instance, when Ms. Burrows was talking about the fact that we need to produce certain documents, the reason for that is that we have to be able to satisfy audit. We have to prove this person exists. Here is the ID, here is the national insurance card, this is the address. These are the circumstances that we investigated and what we found. And we have to prove that the amount of money we are requesting is legitimate. This is the bill from the recognized healthcare facility, etc. So even though people get impatient with all the things we ask them for, the funds don't belong to us. We are just the conduit.
Right.
And so we have to account for it at the end of the day. We have to pass an audit exam. So that's the reason why we ask for these documents, not to frustrate people, but because we are required to give an account for the government's funds.
And obviously, when people are in need, they don't care about the process. They just want the assistance right away. And again, I can understand why that is a challenge and why that can be frustrating. And that's why I say that this ministry is not a 9 to 5. You have to have a heart for people to want to work in social services.
It is widely, said in the agency that the stress levels that these people go through, would we want to put our mother, our grandmother through something like that for only doing their job? This is a means test.
Right.
And so, unlike national insurance where you pay in, social services is not a guarantee thing. It is to assist the most vulnerable in our society, the poorest of the poor. And so there are questions you have to ask. And some of them are very uncomfortable. But if you are requesting assistance in public funds, and it's not just food, it's not just shelter. Social services provide health social services with people with their medication, for chemotherapy, for radiation treatment, for eye surgeries. And so, it's vast. There's only X amount of funds, and the team is just trying to stretch every dollar so that we could assist as much as we can with the confined budget that we have.
And as you mentioned, it's not an easy work, and that's why I always give kudos to the members of the social services department, because it's like you mentioned, it's not a 9 to 5. There are no days off, and once people recognize you and know you are a part of that department, it doesn't matter where you go.
Absolutely.
They want your help. They need the assistance, and they know you're the person to go to get the assistance. And if you don't give it to them, you'd be amazed at how they respond and treat you. But again, kudos to the members of the social services department for the work the selfless work that they consistently do, helping, as you mentioned, the poorest of the poor and those who are in need. I want to get back to the apartment that we toured yesterday, because we had quite a few comments online, and people were asking questions. Not only were they commending it because it is such a great need in Grand Bahama, but they wanted to know, how can I be a part of it? And you would think that people who see these things would be kind of timid or afraid to come out publicly and say that I need that assistance, but online they're not. They're actually asking, how can I get that assistance? How can I apply? Or these look really nice. I would love to be in an opportunity where I could, stay in a place where I could catch myself for a little while and then get on my feet. So just share a little bit about how persons can apply it, because that's not, you mentioned not long term,
right,
but short term. And how long is short?
You go into your social service office and you apply for shelter assistance. Like I said, it's main tested just like the other services that you apply for. Now, we're looking at a period of around 3 months to assist. And so if you are an individual who just got a job, because that is a trend that is out there, and you don't have to pay rent or light bill or water bill for some 3 months, and you say you have a spouse and both of you are working, that's a fair enough period of time.
That's a major boost.
For you to put yourself in a position to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And we cannot there's 10 units there. And if this pilot project go the way that we think that it could, there is a possibility for us to expand the amount of rooms are available. But again, it's temporary. For us to make space for somebody else to come in, it means somebody have to leave. And that's why we want to stress, the government have, through the Ministry of Housing, in particular in New Providence, where you have homes that are reduced rents for individuals to stay. Social services, I remind the public, is to provide temporary shelter. And we take each case on a case-by-case basis, because there may be a situation where individuals can be extended. Now that extension is at the absolute discretion of the Department of Social Services based on the circumstances of the individual. And I say that because this is not our first time at this. We have had situations where people have been in temporary shelters for over 2 years. Multiple people in the family that are working. Is that fair to those who have not been assisted at all? I think any right-thinking Bahamian would say, no, that's not fair.
You know what the minister was talking about, temporary shelter and those people who abuse the access to the opportunity is really, can I be blunt, selfish. It's a contradiction to what community is. The policy is 3 months. 2 years is a lot of time when we're working with the opportunity to save. Loving our neighbors as ourselves. There's somebody else who wants to get in. But I believe I see a shift, that we have more people that seem to be considering their own future, having more faith in their ability. When we do that, we move more as a family in our home, in our workplace, in our community. Why? Because there is a delight in helping each other succeed. Family comes from the word famulous. At social services, we are giving our best. We're not perfect. There's always the genuine and the counterfeit. We are working really hard with training and interacting and trying to build that culture of ownership, because this is my country. I am fighting for the best home that I can have. I am fighting to be the best so that when I walk in, first class has arrived as a Bahamian. Yes, that's why we say at social services, we're the heartbeat, because we interact with the hurt, the needs, the requirements of the people of the Bahamas. What an honor to be able to serve and help each other. But the whole idea of service, and service means to help, is that we work hard to put ourselves in a position to reach back and help somebody else up. We're gonna do it together. All of us. So thank you for watching. Good night.
This has been a production of the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, where we move our clients from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.